Good morning, it's Brian here again, and we're broadcasting at the Budget Home Studio using an iPhone, a wonderful piece of technology. And the burning issue for our time is the unwinding of the world's economy, which is getting worse. And according to Vince Cable, in an article in the Guardian Weekly, which is a paper I highly recommend. Here's the headline on this particular story. I'll just hold it there so you can see it. And the byline, Business Secretary says politicians have failed to make clear the pain ahead. Okay, Vince Cable has warned that the political class has not yet prepared the public for the scale of the problems facing the UK economy and the coming squeeze on living standards. And he goes on to say how the economy has declined 6% or 7%, that is 10% below trend. Anyway, this article is full of a whole lot of detail as to why we've got some very, very serious problems ahead of us. They are all around the world. They're not unique to the UK, Europe, Greater Europe, Eastern Europe, Northern Europe, Japan, parts of the Middle East, America, Australia and New Zealand. A whole collection of advanced countries that have not been able to face the reality of, dare I say, a declining energy, the end of cheap energy. And we have actually been warned by successive informed people. We won't call them prophets because actually it's not about prophecy, it's about actually mastering the facts. And I think that a couple of people were outstanding as I think about it. In the Association of Scientists for Peak Oil, the late Matt Simmons, amazing man who was the chair of an energy investment bank, Simmons International, and he came to New Zealand in 2005, and he said that he believed that the globe, the world's energy resources had peaked, oil had peaked in 2005. I see now the International Energy Agency has actually restated its position and changed it somewhat from being an issue we would have to deal with out in the future to it actually happened in 2006. Well, Matt, you were ahead of your time, and I certainly don't believe that your analysis was inaccurate. In fact, I think Matt Simmons, the late Matt Simmons, was right on the mark. And Colin Campbell, the amazing man who worked in the industry and is unbelievably articulate. He has a wonderful grasp of the issues, more so than most of the people that I've read or listened to over the last 10 years. And that's more because he actually is an insider and he speaks with authority and experience. Now, what's this all linked into the economic crisis? How is it linked? Well, energy, we're a monolithic fuel-based culture, and energy actually is the real bank. And when the energy bank starts to deplete, we're in serious trouble because as a planet, we've overshot our carrying capacity. That is to say that we actually use more resources than we're entitled to. And as a consequence, it's just like credit in the bank. Our energy resources, our credit is running out. And actually, there's no easy way to solve this issue. There's going to be huge problems ahead of us because we don't seem capable of adjusting to a powering down, a lower standard of living. And of course, you see wealthy people behaving in a most irresponsible manner. And of course, wealth, the acquisition of wealth, and the non-compassionate use of accumulated wealth, all issues that one could debate vigorously and also condemn in some ways that it's even taken place, because in a fundamental way, a massive accumulation of wealth actually flies in the face of what a democracy is all about. Oh, well, my definition of democracy, of course. And let me state it for you. Quite simple, not difficult to get your head around. Majority rule, minority protection, and sharing the benefits. And if you think about it, that's a pretty common sense view of democracy, but it encompasses the whole balancing act. That it's democracy, in my view, is not about taking a single position, but actually balancing competing issues. And so, of course, you look after your majorities, and then you have to protect those people who are not part of those majorities. And you have to do that in a considered way, and the resources have to be shared in an equitable manner. Now, how close do you get in that definition of democracy? It's not complicated. It's actually quite straightforward if you stick to a simple fundamental position. Interesting enough, when Benjamin Franklin was involved in writing the American Constitution, a woman approached him as he came out of a building that they were all in, and she said to him, "Well, what have you given us, Mr. Franklin?" And he said, "Well, I've given you a republic, if you can hang on to it." And this is the whole thing, democracy is only yours as long as you hang on to it. And we seem to have a sort of a misunderstanding that somewhere out there's a group of people or a set of regulations and laws and so forth that will govern while we are not in attendance. Well, it's just doesn't work. Just doesn't work like that. Everyone has to be in attendance in a democracy. Each day you have to get up and be vigilant and go to battle over these fundamental issues. They just cannot be taken for granted. Yeah, sure, we do have majorities ruling from time to time, but more often we have minorities ruling and imposing their will upon the majorities. We hardly ever think about balancing majority rule with protecting minorities. I mean, it's just hardly on the landscape. I can't think of any really good examples of where that balancing act, has been working of late. I know we do a whole lot of window dressing. Naturally, all that stuff is employed in the rhetoric and the spin of the time, but really, the actual hard work of trying to actually strike that balance between those competing and often extreme positions, contrapolar, opposites often, hardly ever takes place. And what is it that you can talk about if you're not sharing the cake? I mean, the resources of our country should not be monopolised by very small groups. And so what's happening as the energy bank starts to run down, the wealth is even more concentrated in fewer hands. And so you're getting this division of rich and poor, and it is the seeding ground for social unrest. I mean, it just doesn't work. It's sort of fundamental. I don't know why, but somewhere, we're socially conditioned just to accepting the rule of law is going to look after us. But whose law? Whose law is looking after us? Is it the law of majorities? I think that over a period of time you see law develops and it takes upon itself a lot of mystique, and also the force of the state is wrapped up in there as a platform supporting the rule of law. Doesn't even have to be good law. I mean, the fact of the matter is that law is just law. It doesn't mean to say it's right. Doesn't say it's wrong. It's just there. It's just the way we've evolved. We use institutions like law to control society. It doesn't have to be just or fair. That's just what's going on. Wake up. Yay. Okay, so what I'm saying to you is that the problems that have been very clearly spelt out in the Guardian Weekly, which is probably going to be one of the best newspapers you can get, really, I mean, a good standard of journalism, you know, investigative journalism. They have a bit of time to reflect on what they're writing. This is not tabloid nonsense that comes out in the daily newspapers and so forth, where they have, you know, all this empty space they start off with, and they have to fill it up with something, and so anything will do, as long as it's, you know, satisfies a requirement of fanning anxiety and almost addiction. So when you get up in the morning, you're going to have coffee and you're going to be addicted to reading what's in the news. Well, you know, as the song went, I think it was Rodriguez, I opened up the window to listen to the news, and all I got was the establishment blues. And that's what happens with local daily newspapers. They just fill up with the anxiety and the blues of the establishment. Okay, so how about that? We'll have a think about that, and we'll get back to you, and all the best.